The letter is O.
The little one right there, that's my great-great-grandfather. My grandparents would sit me at their feet, and they would tell me the story of how our family learned to read and write. My great-great-grandfather was the letter carrier of the plantation. He'd walk through the night from one plantation to another and one slave quarter to another, delivering what they called letters.
The letter is O. O.
But these weren't letters that they mailed. The letters that he delivered were the ABCs. You see, he delivered them in sounds. A, B, K, and so on. He delivered the sound and then write the letters in the air or in the dirt, being sure to sweep them away before morning. Because on plantations around here, it was forbidden for slaves to read and write. He delivered the letters, he delivered the alphabet, and then he delivered the letters two at a time to make phonetic sounds.
O. O. No. 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 No.
And that's how reading emerged and how black children became literate. All of my ancestors were slaves on that plantation, the McElmurray plantation down Pine Log Road, and the Glover plantation. They traveled back and forth. Eventually, reading would be activated and books began to speak to them.
No. No more death. Yes. Neither sorrow. No more crying. Neither shall there be any more pain. For the former things are passed away. Amen.
Their greatest motivation was having the Bible speak to them. That book, among others, freed their minds and their spirits. My great-great-grandmother and great-great-grandfather were finally freed after the war. And to their son, my great-grandfather, they instilled in him the importance of education. Education sometimes seems to be more of a burden to students than a privilege. It is a privilege, a hard-fought privilege. My great-great-grandmother and great-great-grandfather risked their lives being letter carriers in the middle of the night. They weren't just delivering the ABCs, they were delivering freedom.
It starts with a letter, one sound, add another, and that sound somehow changes to a word, a phrase, a sentence, a book that speaks to us. Our hopes, our dreams, our stories, passed down through time to us. We carry it forward.
Here you go. Here's your paycheck. Payday, everyone.
Oh boy, my first paycheck. $20? Wait till Mama sees.
And what are you going to do with all that money, young lady?
I'm gonna buy my family a telephone.
When I was growing up, I had to get a job at 14. I addressed envelopes at Belt's Portrait Studios. Education had to take a backseat for a lot of us in this mill village. Mama and Daddy worked the mill. They got paid in what you call boogaloos, company money. Well, the company had a store, kind of like a general store that sold goods, and they took boogaloos, but other stores did not. Neither did the taxi cabs nor the utilities. So all the money Mama and Daddy got paid from that mill got spent at that company store. It kind of kept them locked in.
Oh, there's my taxi. Hey, Benny. Well, thank you, Mrs. Johnson. I'll see you on Monday.
At 14, I got myself one of those keys. Well, education, of course, is one key, but work, good hard work at a company that pays real money is another. I took myself out to Augusta in a taxi one day and got myself a key.
These days, it's too expensive to take a taxi to work every day. Back then, we had a busy taxi service. There was 36 taxis down the valley, and we all charged a fair low rate. So the mill folks could go to Augusta to shop.
Or like me to work, and it wouldn't break our bank.
It was just another way folks could carry each other. All right, miss, here you go. Keep looking at those numbers on that paper. You like what you see?
I sure do.
I made real money in Augusta, the kind you spend on taxi cabs, clothing stores, utilities. But work was a key to freedom, but it did come with a cost. For many of us in the mill village, the cost was going through life with an 8th grade education.
Or less. I quit school in 6th grade to work in the mill because Daddy got down on his back and couldn't work anymore. You could spend your life working for the mill, but if a day came that you couldn't work, they wouldn't think twice about moving you out. So I worked until Daddy got better again. By then, I'd already missed about a year of school, so I just stayed on working for the mill for a better shift.
Charlie, look at this map. What does it say? AAA?
Assyria.
That's right, we're learning about them. They are ancient and have the oldest story in the world. Gilgamesh. That's it. Let me tell you about it.
For many of us, we had younger brothers and sisters, and we encouraged them to finish school. Because when they did, they would carry forward the lessons that we missed onto us.
That didn't happen all the time. I got through basic grammar, but in history, I never made it to the Civil War. And in math, I barely learned to count to much more than I earned. But there's more to education than learning from books. In life, I have found that there are 2 words that are very different: knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge comes from going to the library and picking up a book, and it's everywhere. Wisdom comes from living your life and being around others. Wisdom is what you will pass on to your children one day. I may not have gotten my high school diploma, but I did get a degree from the University of Life.
Me too. There's a huge graduating class of us down in the valley.
I do my paper diploma sometimes, but I never will forget the day our telephone got turned on for the very first time.
So, how long will it take?
Not too much longer. I just have to get these wires connected.
Our own phone? I can't believe it. Honey, is this really how you want to spend your money? Of course, Mama.
There you go. You're all set.
I remember how proud my family was. We could be connected to each other and the world.
And I did that at 14. I didn't get a paper diploma, but I feel like I should have got some kind of paper for a moment like that.
Here you go.
What's this?
Oh, that's just the bill. Have a nice day.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present the graduating class of the University of Life.
I grew up in Piney Heights. My dad worked at the mill. He'd come home at 12, go to bed, and get up and farm at 4 in the morning because we also had a farm. He worked hard. Everybody who lived here worked hard. There's something about that down in the valley. Everybody works hard. They're just good, fair, hard-working people. It's understood. We're all the same that way. On Daddy's farm, he had 5 acres that was just watermelon. He'd have a trailer sitting out front of the house with watermelon on it and a can. It was an honor system. People would come get watermelon and put money in the can, and that whole time, nobody took money from the can. Nobody would do that. Living in the valley is hard-working, honest people.
Living in the valley is knowing our geography of the valley. It stretches from Cumberland Village at the four-way stop all the way over to Schultz Hill.
She means not Graniteville.
Graniteville could be from the valley if they wanted to be.
Living in the valley is going to the Dixie Lee, where Miss Lee knows everybody's name and their children.
Living in the valley is the 4 o'clock crowd at Platt's drugstore, serving soda from the fountain. Gotta be quick on the jerk to handle those crowds.
It's playing on the football team, marching in the band, or cheering at the game. Nobody missed a football game. Yeah. You'll see me Friday night, first chair trumpet.
Living in the valley is putting aside those rivalries and building one stadium for our children, and then at the high school, fighting for those AP classes.
Going to LBC is living in the valley and taking Miss Taylor's home ec class.
Living in the valley is having Miss Frances McKellar, my favorite teacher for my least favorite subject, chemistry. Ugh.
Living in the valley is knowing what a boogaloo is and where you use it.
Living in the valley is having brothers, parents, grandparents, and even great-grandparents working in the mills.
But not our children. Not anymore.
Living in the valley is having a long history. Before the Civil War, before the first mill in 1845, it's finding Indian knife blades, arrowheads, and tomahawks in your very own backyard.
Living in the valley is never having to lock your door and never wanting to.
It's having your mother make your own clothes, school clothes, out of flour sacks, and Sunday clothes with fabric she saved up and bought at the company store.
It's learning lessons on the field and off from Coach Reams and Coach Caber.
Living in the valley is riding the bus to LBC and making sure you get to the one and only stop in Langley on time. Oh no, run y'all, I hear it coming.
Living in the valley is getting to drive that school bus my senior year. Yes, some of us students actually drove the bus.
It's 36 Valley taxis driving around till you flag them down, and the fee was only 15 cents, affordable and fair.
Living in the valley is everyone thinking there would be fights and craziness when they consolidated the schools, but a lot of surprised people when everybody got along.
That is the truth. Who would have thought such bitter rivals could come together so easily?
Living in the valley is Valcom, Bath, Langley, Clearwater, Seminole, and Graniteville. Yes, Graniteville. I don't care what anybody says because we all understand mill life. We were all a part of it.
Which is probably why the schools consolidated so well.
Living in the valley is the train depot by Langley Mill, meeting people for the first time, saying goodbye for the last. A lot of history in that depot.
Living in the valley is hanging a slop can on a tree branch outside of your home for Mr. Leon Heath's hogs to help him fatten them up for hog killing season.
Living in the valley is working at the Langley hardware store for Mr. B.W. Baker and work all day and only get paid $5. My daddy didn't want me working there, but Mr. Baker said, give the girl a chance. So daddy let me, and it was fun. All kinds of folks came in, but none of them minded I was a girl. That's living in the valley.
It's being caught on Linthead, starting on third shift, making it the first after 10 or 15 years.
Sometimes living in the valley was growing up in a home with no restroom, no running water, no money, but more love than you could carry.
It's finding a mess of collards on your front porch, left by a neighbor who just knew this had been a hard month for you.
Living in the valley is watching our men go off to war. It's surviving the Depression when the mills closed the first time. It's finding our way through consolidation when the mills close yet again. Living in the valley is knowing we have what it takes to do anything, because that's what our people have always done.
And we'll do it again the way they did, together.
I present to you the graduating class of the University of Life. And now, may I ask all of the previous graduates of the University of Life to please stand. Don't be shy, stand up. Congratulations, well done.
Mama would stop and buy eggs from a woman on Piney Heights Road. This lady didn't have any store-bought clothes. She made clothes out of flour sacks. She sold eggs to make money to buy food, including the flour that came in the sack she used for her clothes. Mama bought eggs even if we didn't need eggs. Now, we didn't have much money either, but that's just how things work. If you had enough money to spare, you had enough to help someone out. One day, Mama came home in tears. The woman who had sold the eggs had died. Her son said that they didn't have any money to bury her and nothing to lay her out in. Mama was upset, telling Daddy, and Daddy stopped her and asked, "How much do you need?" He knew that's what she was going to ask her. Mama said, and I'll never forget this as I listened in, Mama said $40 will get her a good dress and put her out in a funeral home. Dad gave it to her. It was like $1 million. It was so much money. I was so excited to be part of this that I went with Mama. That stayed with me. It taught me to give to the people in my community and that we take care of each other. Today, I help head up the Empty Stocking Fund. I do it because it's one of the things my mama passed on to me, and I want to carry it forward.
It was 1968, and my parents told me that the schools were going to be integrated. Leaders from the schools and teachers all got together and then got with parents to talk about the transition, how difficult this might be. This was in the summertime. I wasn't really paying too much attention because I was still on vacation. Who wanted to think about school? Then a couple weeks before school was supposed to start, there was a knock on the door. Hello, what can I do for you?
Hello, are you Peggy Rogers?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, hello, my name is Miss Cave, and I'm going to be your home economics teacher this year. And I thought it would be great to meet the students who are going to be in my class this year and their families.
Come in. Mama invited Miss Cave in, and we had tea. She was watching Mama put a new zipper in Daddy's jacket.
Miss Rogers. Miss Rogers, if you don't mind, I've just learned a new and easier way to sew in zippers. I can show you if you like.
Well, I guess I would appreciate that, because these zippers are the worst.
She ended up being my favorite teacher of all time. She helped Mother sew in the zipper, but more than that, by going around and meeting all the students in her sewing class. This helped us not to be so afraid of the changes that were coming. I knew who I was going to be in school with. That summer, Miss Cave did more than teach students how to sew, but by building a relationship with us first. I was never domestic, but I took home economics for 4 years because I loved Miss Cave.
waved goodbye to my son at the Langley Depot as he left for the war. My last memory of him was boarding that train and leaving. I never saw him again.
We have a lot of women and men in this area who were veterans who went to war. Still, those some never come back, who paid the ultimate sacrifice. As a young boy, I remember watching the floats get ready, all of them, and Veterans Day, all of them going toward Aiken. I asked, why not here? And someone told me, because we don't have a park in the valley. I didn't think this was right.
That's Mayor Rodriguez. When he was elected mayor, he still had that in his mind. After all those years, he met a group of people and they formed a committee. They started the Veterans Park. He acquired the land from Aiken County. It was an abandoned sort of dish between Maple and 421, and they donated it to the town of Burnetown. And they started working it, they cleared it, in 2 years, they built that park. Now that land is one of the biggest and the most beautiful. In 1998, there was an opening celebration with all sorts of dignitaries visiting. But more than that was the local pride. We had our own floats, the LBC band was playing, the Middle Valley band was playing, and the NJOTC carried the colors, and the whole community got involved. Each of our veterans had a representative. All the VFWs, the American Legion, and Fort Gordon, and the National Guard from Graniteville. This is just another source of pride we have here in the Valley.
We take care of each other, especially our veterans.
After a football game.
But you just don't get caught there with your parents when you're in high school.
You don't even wave to your parents when you're at the Dixie Lee in high school.
Yoo-hoo, sweetie. Me and your mom forgot to give you the money for your hamburger.
Dad, how could you?
What did I do?
How mortifying.
I hope my parents don't ever do that to me.
Teenagers.
She'll be back when they bring the burgers.
I hope they remember the extra goo.
Miss Lee ran a Dixie Lee a couple of times. She'd sell it, then work it, then miss it, then buy it, then sell it again. She couldn't stay away. Her hamburgers were famous because they had what was called goo on them.
Everything at the Dixie Lee was good. I especially loved the onion rings. They were the best anywhere.
But nobody could beat her burgers with the famous goo. I had the privilege of learning how to make the goo. She showed me herself.
So, what's the secret?
Can't tell you, except it is delicious.
Uh-oh, that's Justin from Abel McCampbell. He's dating Angie. I think they're gonna be in trouble.
Hey, why don't you take your losing team boyfriend and go back to the blue top, where you belong?
Shut up, Billy.
You gonna let your girlfriend do the talking?
I'm gonna let my fist do my talking.
Billy, do you have anything to say to him?
Funny, I don't hear your fist say anything.
Do you have anything to say back?
Say another word and they are.
All right, break it up.
He should know better than to wear his school colors over here. He needs to take his Grannyville jacket and go back to the blue sock where it belongs.
Hey, I said break it up.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, ma'am. I'll go.
No, you'll stay. Hey, Marty, put a cow on the grill and put some extra goo on it. Would you like French fries or onion rings?
Onion rings.
Hey, Marty, make it cry. Somebody put some music on this place. I want to see some dancing.
The teachers here in the Valley, in the Aiken County Schools District, many of them are caring. When I talk to teachers today, they remind me of my favorite teacher, Miss Frances McKellar. Funny thing is, my favorite teacher taught me my least favorite subject, chemistry. But Mrs. McKellar understood that I had to pass chemistry to graduate. So there she was, encouraging me and coaching me through the periodic table. And I did graduate. And I decided that I was called to be a missionary. And I went off to college, but the first thing I did when I came back from break was go to see Miss Frances McKellar.
Tell me, what's on your mind?
Well, Miss McKellar, I thought I wanted to be a missionary.
But?
Well, I just don't have that peace. I feel like something's unsettled in me.
I remember you'd get this same kind of mental block about chemistry. Let's look at this problem from a different angle. What does it mean to you when you think about becoming a missionary?
Well, I guess being a missionary is serving people. And then you help them become who they're meant to be. And then maybe along the way you learn something. You know, Miss McKellar, at one point I thought about being a teacher, but I really do feel like I'm called to serve.
Lawana, don't you know there's no greater mission than teaching? Missionaries are teachers. They go to remote places and they teach people. They teach about God, yes, but they also teach about all kinds of things. Things that can set people free in spirit and in body. Things like modern health care, the importance of clean water, how to grow food in hard to grow places. All these things are taught. A missionary is a teacher. Think about that.
And there was Miss McKellar helping me again to get through a brain block. You know, the thing I learned from Miss McKellar is it's more important to ask the right questions than to have a quick and ready answer. And serve I did as an educator in the Aiken County Schools for a lot of years. First, I served at Bath Elementary as a teacher. Then I served at Jackson and Downer as an assistant principal. And then I served at Redcliffe. And then I served 23 years as an assistant principal at Jefferson Elementary. I finally retired when I was teaching the grandchildren of my students. But from Miss McKellar, I learned to always keep a door open for my former students. Because you see, I might not have the right answers, but I'm always willing to help them come up with a few good questions.
Time to work. Let's do it. Get ready to crank it up. Clothes aren't gonna sew themselves. There was never any question about what I was going to do. Mill was my life. I was working my way up through the ranks. The day was June 2nd, 1985. I'm in my 21st year at United Merchants. I'm the assistant plant manager. And that morning, I went over to the HR department. I saw my friend Wayne Thompson. Wayne and I would hunt together, fish together, play ball together, play golf together. Hey, buddy. I told Wayne, just go ahead and order my 25-year watch. You see, the company gave out awards in multiples of 5. And everybody knew that in 25 years, every employee got a real nice watch engraved on the back. Well, next morning, I get to work, and Bruce Henson was the plant manager. He found me right away and said, I need to talk to you. So we got to his office, sat down. Bruce said, I didn't have the heart to tell you this yesterday, but we're closing the plant. Well, I paused. I took that in. Next thing he said was, right after lunch, Greenville, South Carolina is going to announce to the news media that they're closing the plant. Well, first thing I said was, we got to talk to our own people first, and he agreed. They weren't going to shut things down right that day. They were going to run out the orders that they already had. That meant that in Bath, where the card room was, that's the first part of the production process. They'd be the first ones to finish, and the first ones to go home. Weaving would be last. Last thing I asked him, can I at least go to the house and tell my wife so she won't hear it from somebody else? So I left, and I carried that news with me. And you know, it's funny, to this day, my wife can tell you everything I wore to work that day. She can tell me what tie, what shirt, what pair of shoes, every little detail. None of us really knew what to expect. For me, my last day came July 17th. "21 years, 1 month, 15 days, I was finished. I found another job. A lot of people weren't fortunate enough to get that opportunity, but the mill didn't just lock the doors and leave folks out in the cold. They invited people in to help folks find other jobs. They let other companies come in and interview people with no strings attached. They told them, you find somebody you like, you want them tomorrow, you can have them. Kimberly-Clark had a lot of openings, and they said, any people you got from the Valley, we'll take them. Because Valley people are known to be hard workers. A lot of our people ended up there. It was hard times. It still is. Those days of the mills, they're not coming back. But this is home. Most of us are just trying to find a way to stay here, because we're all family.
That's management's take. Those things did happen. Some people found new jobs with new companies, but they didn't want anybody my age. They said, you're close to retirement, but I really think they thought we couldn't learn a new trade. But you see, a lot of us went to work right out of high school in the mills. Did the same job every day our whole lives. We really didn't know how to do much else. My husband and I didn't find work, and we lost everything. I mean everything. We lost our home, and when that happened, we didn't have anywhere to put our stuff. So we sold what we could and lost most of it. We want to stay here, find a way to make it, but how? The companies that we invested in all those years, they just up and moved. We didn't know what to do. We just all were trying to make it. They moved away without telling any of us and set up overseas where they paid the people 15 cents an hour. 15 cents an hour. They didn't care about us, and I promise you, they didn't care about those people they paid 15 cents an hour. Bottom line, all they ever cared about was what they always cared about. Makes you lose faith in everything you've ever worked for. You see, when the companies left, they didn't just take our jobs, they took our hope. We'll learn to live without the money. We've done that before. But how do we live without hope?
My parents, my aunts and uncles, they all worked at the mill, but not at the same one. My parents worked in Bath, and my aunt and uncle worked in Clearwater. But we all had something in common. We all knew what hard work was. We were all graduates of the University of Life. My parents worked in the mill, like I said, but my dad had the farm too. The watermelon money, the corn money, all of it. They didn't buy a car or anything with it. It all went towards my education. Every year at Christmas, they'd pull out the ugly jug. You see, my dad didn't believe in banks. He lost his money, his family's money, during the Great Depression. So he kept what we had in the ugly jug. They'd pull out the ugly jug and they'd see what I had for college, and they'd show me how much it had grown. My family were hard workers. They said the mill was good for us, that it kept a roof over our heads, kept us fed and clothed. They wanted me to see if I could be free from the mill and to see if an education could make a difference. So I got my first degree. Then I got another. I got a job, my own house, and a car. And I could have gotten more for myself, but I realized I didn't need that much. So this year at Christmas, I came to visit Mama and Daddy. I got there when they were still at church, so it gave me just enough time.
Oh, wow. Did you see that fancy new car parked on the street? I think it's a Mustang. And it's a convertible. I bet the mill owner's in town.
Merry Christmas, sweetheart. I'm so glad you're spending it with us this year.
Me too. I love all of our family traditions. Dad, can you pull out the ugly jug like you used to?
Baby, there's nothing else in there. We don't have to save anymore.
Come on, just for old time's sake.
I think there's something in here.
It's keys. Car keys.
That's not the mill owner's car outside.
Baby, that's too much.
That's way too much.
It's not too much. Everything you made, you invested in me. Think of it this way, Mom and Dad. The investment has finally paid off.
Well, if you put it that way, grab your coats and hats. We're going for a ride with the top down. Now that's real freedom.
I better get my coat.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's game. We have the LBC Lions versus the Graniteville Rocks.
were rivals. Their parents were rivals.
It was handed down to us, the rivalry.
It was our responsibility to keep it going.
Our parents told us to not like each other.
To fight each other on the field and off.
Before the game and after the game.
We weren't allowed to mix.
We were encouraged to not like each other.
No daughter of mine is going to date a Graniteville boy.
And I would never allow my daughter to be near one of those leather jacket switchblades.
That's right.
Each side was the other.
And the other was always bad. The other couldn't possibly have feelings. The other needed to be beaten down. The other could not be on top. The other could not win. We have to beat the other.
We have to beat the other. We have to beat the other. We have to beat the other. We have to beat the other.
Mom,
Beat
why
the
do you
other.
hate them?
It's not that we hate them. We just don't want to be like them. They're not like us.
Don't they work in the mills too?
Yes, but.
Don't they go to school and play football and celebrate the 4th of July too?
Yes, but.
Angie's a nice girl. You won't even give her a chance.
Son, we've talked about this before. She's just.
From the other side, Mom, your rivalry isn't mine.
Dad, your rivalry isn't mine.
It is. It's tradition.
Tradition.
Your tradition doesn't fit my world.
Some traditions can be broken, need to be broken. There is a time to break the tradition.
No.
Every generation says that, but they always come back around to it. You can't fight tradition and heritage. You can't escape from it, right? I didn't. They didn't. We're all still rivals, right? And for good reason.
Why?
Why? Because heritage and tradition don't need reasons, right? It's always been that way, right? It was passed down to us. You want to go against everything your grandfather fought for, I fought for? I played on the same team that you marched with in the band. We're on the same side. They, look at them. They are the enemy.
I'm not sure what key it's in, but it's a very important letter.
What is the letter?
The letter is?
The letter is?
Oh.
You should have done that.
Roll those hands. I know you did. Good job.
Get you some of that.
The county made a decision that the schools should be consolidated, that all the students would go to the same school.
I was afraid for my son to go to school. I knew something like this would happen. I knew fights would start.
We were afraid. It was a terrible decision.
We knew there'd be fights, violence. There was no way around it. We even debated sending our girls that first week.
None of us thought it was possible.
Teachers were advised how to handle fights that broke out in the classrooms or on school grounds.
Bus drivers were told to keep a close eye on the back seats.
All summer long before school started, we worried about this. We knew this would happen.
Then came the first day of school. We were all of us nervous, not knowing what to expect, except for the worst.
You're wearing it too.
Whoa.
I don't like this. I don't like this.
That's it, all in the same key. The key of C, the common note.
C for consolidation, C for community, C for coming together.
But there was no fighting.
But we expected fights.
Not us!
We knew each other. Our parents worked each other in the mills. We came from the same background.
Good, hardworking people who cared about their families. Your rivalry is not our rivalry. The games you fought are over.
It's our turn on the field, and we're playing together.
Well, there was a little, even with you.
And your class ring. You weren't about to order a Midland Valley ring.
Nah, it was my senior year. I just started going to Midland Valley this year. The rest of my years I had gone to Graniteville. And I wanted my ring to symbolize that, the tradition.
Ha! See? They always come back to tradition. I knew you would.
Yeah, at the end of the year, I asked if I could order another ring, a Midland Valley ring, because, well, it had become my school. I was ready for a new tradition.
And then, a year later, he bought a third ring, my engagement ring, and then our wedding rings. Our marriage was a marriage of rivals that has lasted through the years. But to me, nothing symbolizes the success of our community coming together more than that Midland Valley ring.
All right, break it up. One of these days, they're just going to have to learn to get along without me. But for now, I want to see some dancing, and I want you two to show them how it's done.
Yogurt parfaits from the New Moon Cafe on Lawrence Street. And I saw a smokestack left over from one of the old mills, and I thought, what if we got together and did something with it? Or the other remnants of old mills? Something that honored the work that the people did there. About then, I asked my mom if we could stop in Birmingham instead of going into Aiken. I sat down at Veterans Park and I thought, a group of volunteers turned that overgrown ditch into a place we're all proud of. What if we did something like that? Another place in Kentucky turned an old schoolhouse into a bed and breakfast. The classrooms are hotel rooms and you check in at the attendance office. Another place in Kentucky, North Carolina, turned a mill into an art studio and held free art shows and held art festivals and free classes. I don't know what to do with our mills or the sites the old ones are on, but one day someone looked at this place and had a dream. It could be in a town. Someone looked at this place and had a dream. It could be an industry. There was a dream about creating a veterans park. There was a dream about integrating our schools so students could have more opportunities. Every one of those dreams looked impossible, but every one of those dreams came true. Maybe someone has to dream again. Dream big. I know it's hard to do. I know it is. Trust me. And when times get hard, nobody thinks there's any money to do it.
I can do without the money, but how do we live without hope?
You don't.
already happening.
I see an end to old rivalries.
I see new traditions and friendships.
I see work where a not so yet over the hill person can find a way to make a living.
I see a fancy restaurant, so we don't have to go to Aiken.
I see a place where teenagers can get together.
And not have their parents hang out with them. How mortifying.
I see a place where mommies can get together with their toddlers and maybe even have a cup of coffee.
I see people from all over the valley coming together, dreaming together, living, doing what they want.
Living in the valley is coming from a long history. We carried letters, carried knowledge, carried wisdom, carried burdens, carried our hopes and dreams, and carried each other.
I see people who know their past and they know their present and they're proud of both, and people who can look forward to the future and build a place where we can live together.
Miss Lee Kreitzer, I remember you.
Principal L.B. Ergel, I remember you.
Frank G. Robertson, I remember you.
Mary Olive Buck, I remember you.
Francis McKellar, I remember you.
Principal Herman Fennell, I remember you. Coach Hank Kaver, I remember you.
Miss Mildred Rutland, I remember you. Louisa Thomas, I remember you.
Principal Duke Kite, I remember you.
Miss Doris Wilson, I remember you.